What's going on, y'all? Got another one for you. This one's gonna be more personal. I know the last few of these have been a little bit more personal about myself. This one's gonna be in the same vein as those. It's going to be, I guess, my perspective of like who I am and the archetype of person that I am, and talking about how it's like to be a reaper in this wild and crazy world. Um, I've always, I think I said this in previous videos, always knew I was different from other people. I knew that the things that I did and the words that I said, they carried way more weight than the average person. I never really knew that, or I never really understood it. It was always something pretty confusing to me. But as I've gotten older, started reflecting on my life and the life of my relatives, it kind of makes a lot of sense, watching both of my grandmothers as I grew up, kind of just have their way with people, just kind of make things happen, and how they would do it would be so effortlessly. They would just kind of say one thing and they would just cut people down or bring people up. They would just make things happen. It was very it wasn't bizarre because that's all I knew, but comparing it to other people, it was always something that kind of stuck out. With those two, and even with my mother, she just always had people kind of coming at her, but at the same time, man, those people didn't last very long. They were pretty much dealt with pretty swiftly. So it was just a really weird dichotomy, especially comparing it to my life, where I would, cut people off, or I'll even tell people I didn't want to be their friends anymore, and they would just have such a visceral reaction, even start crying at some points, and I always knew that, I had to be kind to people, no matter what, because I always, whenever I would go at people, as kids, you would start bickering, going back and forth. So many people would just take it so personally. It was really, really weird how, they could dish it, but they couldn't take it. At least when it came to me, everyone would always kind of, and it still happens. It's always going to happen with me, but they would always kind of like gang up on me to kind of make me feel small, make me feel insecure or whatever, because I would bring out their insecurities. And every time I would like lash back, kind of give them a taste of their own medicine, it was like I just dropped a bomb on them and kind of just destroyed their entire existence. And it was always this a weird thing to me, because I thought that's kind of how you communicated with people. That's kind of how you did things. And on the surface, that is true. But, once you kind of zoom out and kind of look at things from a different perspective, there's way more weight to my actions than other people, so I have to really be cognizant of that, because there is I said this in previous videos, there is like a natural order to things in life. There is some semblance of a hierarchy, and some people are just a little bit more blessed than others. Some people just a little bit more gifted than others, and with that comes with a lot of responsibility with that weight. And the older I got, the more I realized how powerful I actually am, and how much my actions, my words, how people put a whole lot of value into them, and which leads me to like the whole Reaper thing, because I always knew that people just did not want to mess with my family. My family was always someone who people picked on. But like I said, it wasn't for very long. Some people would fuck around, and then they found out. A lot of people wouldn't be, my mom didn't stay at too many jobs for very long. Neither did my dad. Neither did my grandmother. One of my grandmothers never even worked at all. And the other one, she did, and she kept her job for a very long time. But the older I got, the more information I got about her and what she did at her job. It was a little jarring to see, how many people had so much respect for her, and a lot of that respect was fear-based too. It was a lot of people definitely feared her presence, which is weird for me because I always saw her as my grandmother. But you know, I never really had any fear for any of my family members. But I come from them, so it makes a whole lot of sense for people who don't come from them. It definitely can be. I can see why people will be intimidated, and I I remember maybe a few months ago having a conversation with my dad, and he would always tell me about his mom, and they didn't have the best relationship ever, not even during his adolescence. But I remember one day she comes home, probably he was coming home from after school, she was coming home from work, and I remember he said a remark to her, and he said, "So how many souls did you take today?" And that always stuck with me when he said that to me, because I've always knew that people in my family did take people's souls. My other grandmother, my mom's mom, they did call her the crypt keeper. Um, I didn't like that. Obviously, that didn't sit well with me. But the more that I know, the more that I'm looking around in the world and in the society, it's it's definitely making a lot more sense. You know, like I said, there are, when you look at like mythological creatures, like in the um, Greek mythology, you know, all the different mythologies, all pretty much all characters in different stories, they are have some semblance based in reality. You know what I'm saying? They are based off of some archetypes of peoples. So when, you know, my dad said that, and when people, you know, call my other grandmother the crypt keeper, and it definitely makes a whole lot of sense to for me to kind of piece the pieces to piece this puzzle together, and kind of come to the conclusion that I do come from those people, and I have gotten that type of reaction out of people, and I have quite a few times I've taken people's souls, not not on purpose, not 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 I guess what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't I wasn't trying to be malicious about it. It was just something that I felt like I needed to do to protect myself, and also to kind of show people that, hey, like there's like this boundary here between me and what you're trying to do. I can't let you just do whatever you want and just kind of get away with it. So if this is going to continue, you're kind of going to have to know what the consequences of this is going to be. And I fully accepted this reality when I was in jail about a few months ago. I've had a lot of time in there to write and reflect. And one of the things that I did write, I might bring it out one of these days, was I wrote accepting the fact that I am a reaper. I'm not grim at all. I try to be very kind, but I am a reaper, because I have just done things that will resemble something of a grim reaper. I have, you know, had people come into my life, and I didn't really understand why those people are in my life, because they weren't supposed to be my friends. They weren't supposed to be, you know, a lover. They weren't supposed to be someone who I was supposed to build with, but yet here they are, and they're getting close to me. They're you know, trying to learn more things about me, and it was always kind of this weird dichotomy. And I never really felt that closeness with them. I never really felt, you know, that I should open up with them, or give them any type of, you know, intimacy or trust. So I'm always trying to figure out, like, why are these people here? Why are they actually making their presence known to me? And I just came to the conclusion that I'm just supposed to take these people's souls, uh, one way or another. And what I mean by that is, as I was doing more reflecting and more, you know, thinking about who I am, and kind of where I fit in the world, I've noticed, and I think I said this in another video, that a lot of people are just pretending to be someone who they aren't. People are just kind of peacocking. They're faking it till they're making it. That's a very common thing, which on the surface isn't the worst thing in the world. You know, we're all trying to, you know, do what's best for us and trying to survive. So there's nothing really there to like judge or criticize. You know, I'm not really going to harp on too many people who want to act like, you know, I've had multiple situations. Like I'm 6'2", and I remember telling that to other people. Like someone asked me how tall I was, and I said I was 6'2", and this dude might have been like 3, maybe 4 inches shorter than me. And he's like, "No, you're not. I'm 6'2". You got to be 6'6". So I'm like, okay, I'm as tall as you want me to be. You know what I'm saying? I get that. I'm not going to harp on stuff like that when people want to, just pretend to be people that they're not for their own insecurities or whatever. But when you take that and you kind of you take that and you move that over to your personal life, to where you're making people feel bad about themselves, you're holding holding things against people, you're putting obstacles in people's way, and you're putting on this facade that, yeah, it's kind of causing a lot of chaos in other people's lives. You're kind of definitely, you're being a bully about it. You're definitely being extreme and cruel about it. That's kind of when I step in, and that's kind of when I see, and I can kind of empathize with the people in my family who also were of that realm. Um, it's it's something that, before I came to this realization, I don't want to say I felt bad about it, but I definitely had some reservations about it for sure. I didn't really understand, like, why is this a why is this my job? I've always kind of envied people who could, like influencers, for example, who like review movies and tech and games, and that's kind of like their job or whatever. I've never, especially since I've been an adult, I never really kind of gravitated towards those things. I remember when the whole MCU started, in all the Marvel movies and all the Disney stuff and all that, nerd stuff or whatever, started really, really taking steam back in, '08, '09 and all, and everything around that time. I never fully gravitated towards it. I've always was very dedicated to doing my job as a reaper, is going around seeing people who are abusing other people who are causing a lot of chaos in people for their own pleasure, for their own this being cruel. And I had to kind of dictate my life around those people. I couldn't actually, go home, sit on the couch, grab a beer, grab a snack, watch whatever TV shows, whatever movies. I couldn't really do that. I had to dedicate myself to what my purpose was, and I empathize. I envy those people. I really wish I could have had people and friends to go watch these movies with and to go to these concerts with and all that. I know those people aren't really living in their purpose, so that's kind of like a consolation prize. Is just doing those things and understanding that even though I am doing something that I would rather not do, I'm kind of living a purpose that, if I had a choice, and I don't believe in free will, but if I had a choice, I wouldn't choose this. I know overall, like, I'm going to be rewarded for these things that I'm doing, and going after the people that I'm going after, because a wise man once said, life is a battlefield, and every day we do go to war with ourselves and also with other people. And I do. It is very cathartic for me knowing that the wars that I'm waging and going into with other people are going to keep those people who are living the life that I would have liked to live, keeping them safe, keeping them secure to where they can do that. The yin and yang, you gotta have the good with the evil and all that good stuff. That, sure, they're doing and living a life that I would like to live, going out, enjoying life, and even though a lot of it is an unhealthy cope, a lot of these people aren't actually happy, but they're still making memories and they're still doing, things that they love. And the flip side with me, I'm dealing with a lot of suffering, just seeing the aftermath of what a lot of these bullies and narcissists, whatever word you want to call people who aren't being very kind. Um, just kind of dealing with these people and kind of making sure that they don't continue what they're doing, and if they're going to do what they're going to do, at least do it to me, so I can at least handle it and keep going and keep moving forward, while everybody else can kind of just have some semblance of a life. That's I know it's sort of like we're all getting paid, and some people get paid. Say we're all getting paid $1,000 each month for 12 months. Some people get like 5,000 the first month, and then they get whatever's left trickle down the other 11 months. I get like a very small amount for the first 6 months, and then for the last 6 months I get like a pretty decent amount of it. I feel like I'm just going to get the fruits. I'm going to be enjoying the fruits of my labor later on in life. I'm not going to be enjoying it now because I kind of have to continue working and continue doing this, because looking at the people who I'm around and the people who I have to monitor and make sure that if they're going to be cruel, at least be cruel to me and not to anybody else. I empathize with them heavily, because at the end of the day, I am no different than them. They're no different from me. So I'm not any better than them. But at the same time, I just can't sit around and allow people just to do whatever they want and think that they can play God with other people's lives because how they feel. You know what I'm saying? Or what someone told them or what they saw. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a very dangerous game for people just to kind of play willy-nilly with other people's lives. It never really sits well with me. So knowing how powerful I am, knowing how powerful my words are, my actions are, I purposely go out, not purposely go out, but I make sure that I'm putting myself in positions for those people to be attracted to me, to show me who they are, so I can act accordingly and be like, oh, okay, you're a bully. You like to strong arm people. You like to make people feel less than because you feel less than, and you like to make people feel miserable. You want people to feel your pain. I get that. I empathize with that, but that can't continue. At least not on my watch. We need to evolve past this and this misery loves company nonsense. We need to definitely get past this and be like, hey, long term, this is absolutely nonsense. We can't live this way as a species of animals. If we want to continue living and thriving as humans, we have to really get past all this nastiness. It's part of us, but we can't just tap into that whenever we feel like it, because other people aren't brave enough or have the courage enough to stand up. That doesn't give you a pass to be a piece of shit and just make people feel less than and not wanted. So I definitely empathize with that, with those people, but that's kind of the end of it. I empathize with you. Hopefully you can empathize with me in understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I was put on this earth to do this. I'm not, trust me, there's a million things I would rather do than be a reaper, but that's what I am, and it causes a lot of isolation. I can't really have a whole lot of close people around me, close friends and all that, relationships, because they're always going to be in danger some way, shape, or form, because I have to have all these very dangerous people very close to me, because if I don't have them close to me, they're going to be close to somebody else, so I have to keep them close and I have to make sure that that they are causing the least amount of havoc and chaos as humanly possible, because I was put on this earth to be able to withstand all of it and bring all that to light. Even though I am a reaper, I also am a truth teller and a fire starter as well. So I definitely know how to protect myself and to get to a place where this suffering doesn't turn into like self-loathing and like a pity party. I'm not a victim in any of this. All of what I've been through, all of what I've seen and endured has made me into the man that I am today, and I have no objection. So it's like I can't really be mad at anybody or anything. I can have anger for sure, but I can't hang on to it and be like, oh, I hate you, this, that, and the third. It's like, you're just doing what you put on earth to do, same as me. So I can't really fault you for real. Just gotta really just empathize, and hopefully, even though, like I said, I'm so far apart from other people, hopefully you can somewhat empathize with me and be like, hey, he's just doing his job. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of line. I'm out of pocket. I was doing way too much, and he was just doing his job like everybody else. So, I have no regrets about who I am or what I've done. And I hope they don't have any either. It's just kind of what happens in war with humans. We all try to compete against each other while competing with ourselves. And yeah, it's never going to turn out or in the way that you think it is. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you have to really accept your fate in life. And I don't feel like I'm better than any of these people, but I just, I know this is like a feeling, but it doesn't sit well with me watching someone cause other people suffering, even though that's what they're supposed to do. At the end of the day, it's still, it's like, okay, if they're supposed to cause it, I'm supposed to solve it. I'm supposed to keep it from happening. That's part of the cycle. But also, I need to figure out a way to break this cycle and to keep us from causing each other suffering. There's so much things out in nature, out in the reality that can cause suffering. We don't need to cause so much of it ourselves. A lot of it, I believe, is like artificial, that we don't need to do. That isn't really needed. Some people want to suffer, but we don't need to suffer this much. This is kind of becoming excessive for most people, and that's why mental health is such in a terrible place right now, because a lot of people are doing a whole lot of unnecessary suffering, and it's definitely turning pretty cruel out here. So, like I said, my job as a reaper, not being grim about it, being very kind about it, is trying to kind of bring a mirror up to those people and showing them like who they truly are, and being like, hey, this is kind of what you're doing. This is kind of how you're what are you talking about? This is kind of how you are projecting yourself in life. And yeah, I won't stand around and just watch you continue doing it. It's not on the menu. You know what I'm saying? You've done enough. I think it's time for you to leave, see your way out. So that's kind of what I've been doing, and I've noticed that's what a lot of what my family members have done. As a kid, I didn't really realize it, I didn't really recognize it. Like I said, I still see them doing it, and it does come across a lot of time as cruel. But overall, there's more nuance to this than I'll ever know. And I know overall they're not bad people. They're just doing what needs to be done a lot of the time. Same as the other people. So it's like, it's a constant tug of war, a constant fight. But as someone who has just had a whole bunch of people in their lives gravitate towards, and not all of them have been bad people, but a lot of them have, I don't even believe in bad people, but a lot of them have just been people who have just been terrorizing people, honestly, and it's really making people feel uncomfortable, not just like insecure. Like, that's something that I do. I understand I make a lot of people insecure, but it's not even that. It's like they're making them feel like bad about themselves, and like they're purposely doing that. They're purposely, putting doubt and uncertainty into their brains just to make themselves feel better. You know what I'm saying? Causing a lot of chaos, spreading rumors, spreading lies, just being very, very chaotic. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's time to stop. So that's kind of like my role in life. And yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to it. Like I definitely get a lot of people appreciate what I do. Even though I'm by myself, I'm never alone. A lot of people know what I'm doing, and then they're definitely protecting me from these people who don't want me here. A lot of people would rather have me dead because of how I am and how I don't bow down to authority. And I would rather die than sell my soul to people who don't give two shits about me. And I just get a lot of enemies from that. I don't have enemies. I have victims. No, they're not. I don't make enemies of people. If you make an enemy of me, you're pretty much a victim because there's no true reason why you would dislike me other than you disliking yourself, since we are basically the same person at the end of the day. But yeah, this some more life reflecting yaps from me. But just coming to terms with, like I said, being a reaper and not allowing myself to not accept that part of me, and which makes a whole lot of sense of why I don't have the connections, and I don't do the things that I've always wanted to do, because that's not what I was put on this earth to do. At least not in that specific way. You know, I know I can enjoy uh, the simpler things in life, and kind of, you know, stop and smell the roses. It's just I just can't do it the same way as like a regular person who isn't a reaper does it, because I have work to do. You know, it's not a job. It's my calling. I'm always gonna go after these people, be a truth teller, and then kind of make sure I put people in positions that so they're safe and they're good. So that's pretty much it. You know, trying to piece this, like I said, piece this giant puzzle together about me and where I fit in life, and why, you know, why things have unfolded in my life the way that they have. You know, it just makes a lot of sense, and how I carry myself and how I do things. Just kind of, you know, really trying to figure all that out. But that's it. That's all I got for y'all. Y'all stay safe out here.